One of my favorite things to do with friends and family who are unfamiliar with Magic is to surprise them with how in-depth and high-valued the marketplace for it can be. In a sea of endless pricing data, how do you get through it all? I'm your host Mike, and today I'll be going over 5 tips for buying Magic cards. Magic within your means. I always try to tie the Magic finance world into the regular finance world because, aside from regulation, there really isn't much of a difference. Within your own personal life, you need to live within your means, or essentially spend less than you make to set yourself up for a financial future. In the same vein, don't dump your savings account for Power 9 just because they have historically only increased in value. Even a good deal on expensive cards is not worth sacrificing personal security for if you do not truly have the disposable income. This might seem like somewhat of a repeat tip from our other Magic Finance videos, but I think avoiding financial pitfalls is worth mentioning in different iterations even if it drives the same point home. Separate market pricing from list pricing. As I mentioned in the introduction, there is a ton of pricing data, so what should you go by? This is where it becomes important to learn the difference between list price, the price that sites will list a card for, and market price, the price that cards actually sell for. This might be obvious to regular traders, but those who usually purchase cards for retail price at their LGS may not be aware of this. There is no true exact price for a card, so I tend to think about fair prices more in terms of a range. To demonstrate the difference, let's take a look at a card that's hot right now, Arclight Phoenix. Its prevalence in Modern and Standard has pushed it from a $5 card at release up to a $25 to $30 card at the time of making this. On TCG Player, the market price is listed as $25.80, and the cheapest near mint copy available has a list price of $24. Compare this to Magic retail sites like Channel Fireball or Star City Games, where the card is listed and sold for $30. Why is there a difference? Channel Fireball, Star City Games, and others are direct retail sites where they sell their own stock, while TCG Player and eBay are marketplaces where one can monitor real prices that cards sell for. Marketplaces get a percentage of each sale, where retail sites rely on buying cards and reselling them. Due to the difference in business models, marketplaces generally offer lower prices than regular retail sites. Before making a large purchase, be sure to browse the plethora of available market data to make sure you're getting the right price. Investigate what drives market prices. Now that we've established a bit more clearly what market pricing is, let's talk about what moves it. Of course, like any market commodity, the price is tied to both the supply and demand of the particular card or product. One important lesson is to learn how to tell which one is driving the price. Most players are familiar with the reprint effect. When a card gets reprinted, its supply in the market is suddenly inflated, which usually drops the bottom of its market price out and causes it to dip for at least a little while. On the reverse end, you also have what you might call the pro player effect, which is when a previously fringe card is successfully used in a competitive deck, which suddenly inflates the demand of a card. This can cause the card to break past its current glass ceiling to a higher market price. For the reprint effect, it's important to consider the so-called natural demand of the specific card. If something heavily used like fetch lands are reprinted, it almost goes without saying that long-term it will be a good idea to pick them up when their prices plateau so that you can at least sell or trade them later for a small gain. However, if Millstone gets its upteenth reprint, it's very easy to say that there would be zero point in speculating on the card. Even at a reduced price, you would need to buy literally thousands of copies to make the smallest amount of profit. You must also be aware of artificial demand. I previously mentioned the pro player effect. Of course, speculating is just that, so there is no real safe decision, but betting on a card that has actually done something in the public eye is a better bet than no information. That being said, if a card starts spiking and you consider jumping in, make sure you know why it is spiking. One potential situation is a buyout, which is when a single person or team attempts to corner the market on a card by buying out available copies to artificially increase its market demand and drive its market price higher. Consulting top 8 deck lists from recent events and Magic Finance forums can help you get quicker summaries on these types of situations. Time your purchases. This section won't focus on the concept of buy low, sell high, because that's a bit obvious and not what you came here for. On top of that, I'm not omniscient, so I couldn't really tell you when to buy a card in terms of market price. However, there are techniques for timing your purchases irrespective of this. I tend to buy older sealed product and high-priced singles from eBay. Generally speaking, there are promotions each month where users can receive a nominal discount on any product listed on the site. In one specific example, I was able to use a 10% off code on a Weatherlight booster box, which brought its total price down to $400. Just a year or so later, they are currently selling for over $500. This is not unique to eBay either. TCG Player also frequently has promotional periods for extra cash back on purchases and even flash sales that offer rewards in the range of 10% cash back. Protect yourself. One of the best parts about buying Magic products on the internet is the extremely strong buyer protection that can come with it. Purchasing from a major Magic retailer will usually come with a standard return policy and customer support, which can help when issues arise. eBay is often criticized by sellers, including myself, for offering somewhat blind protection for purchasers, even in cases where nefarious stuff is going on. As a purchaser, though, you can feel at ease knowing that eBay will have your back in the case of accidentally purchasing a fake card or opened sealed product. I have personally done a return and refund in both of these cases. When purchasing from private sellers via social media groups, it is usually up to you on how much you want to protect yourself. Virtually all sellers will try to deal through PayPal for payment, which comes with two options. The first is for friends and family, which is free for both users, and the second is for goods and services, which incurs a small fee for the seller. The only difference as a purchaser is the buyer protection that comes with goods and services, whereas there is basically zero protection for friends and family transactions. Some sellers may insist on friends and family to save on fees, but this should only be done in a case where you can truly trust the dealer. A person established on a popular buy-sell group with references is probably safe, but you want to avoid the Twitter account that was made 5 hours ago. Those were 5 tips for buying Magic cards. I hope you can go on and use some of these tips to help build your collection or even just get the cards you need at a cheaper price. If you liked this video, please give it a like down below, it is really appreciated. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn notifications on so you get alerted when our next video comes out. Until then, thanks for watching.